Hello and welcome, Reds, to Anfield Index, the latest addition to the Late Night Live. I'm your host, Jack McIndoe. I'm joined this evening by Lola, Katz, Roberts. Lola, Reds, that was absolutely abysmal, wasn't it? I'd say we're surprised, but we're not really, are we, mate?
No, that's the worst part, isn't it? Is we all saw it coming. I don't think I met anyone saying, "Oh, trip to Molineux Tuesday night, that's going to be easy." No one said that. So I don't think you can accuse the Liverpool fans of complacency, but maybe you can with the players. But yeah, pretty disgraceful performance. It's funny, we probably would have been sat here saying similar things if they hadn't got the late winner at Forest. But football is a results-based business, isn't it?
Yeah, and well, we've seen this performance as we'll mention tonight as well. Reds, let us know your thoughts. What was anyone watching live or listening on the repeat as well? Let us know what you want to see improved. Of course, the style of play, general, absolutely everything tonight. Even the bloody corners done my head in. I was given Arsenal daggers before kickoff, but I'll tell you what, we'll just took a couple of set piece goals again. But yeah, Lola, it's just attack it in any way you possibly can. Really, it's just a whole abomination in terms of the way in which Liverpool performed. But like even the first half, quickly to touch on anyway, the first half performance in respect to it wasn't a great showing. We'll speak about obviously even Wolves' first shot they scored. We knew that was going to happen anyway, but the first half performance, Lola, very poor. Liverpool 64% possession to Wolves' 36. Wolves had 0 shots on target, 0 shots in general play, and Liverpool's 2 shots on target from 6. So 2 shots on target, but one of those shots was like from 35 yards out from Dom. So just the inability of just creating any clear-cut opportunities tonight, again, so prominent in Liverpool's style of play.
Yeah. And we've seen it before. They were flashing up the stats about how we rank 18th in the Premier League for goals scored away from home in the first half, but first for goals scored in the second half, which, by the way, means nothing if you don't go on to win the game. But I just think it's so odd. It's like I felt they were trying to do things early doors, and some of the issues, which I'm sure we'll come on to, were down to the manager's selection. Like personally, as good as Frimpong was in his cameo against West Ham, I don't think you start him on the basis that Joe Gomez he gets up and down the right hand side. He's got a weapon of a long throw, as embarrassing as that is to say, that's a good way that we might create opportunities. And then you have the option of bringing Frimpong on if you need a goal, but it just. It's not that there was a lack of endeavour. I saw them trying stuff, but then when you've got Szoboszlai, I don't know, I'm sure you'll be able to tell me what minute he took that pot shot on. But when you're resorting to pot shots just to kind of boost your shots on target stats or hope that the keeper might spill it, it's a real sign that you're struggling to create.
Yeah, 36 minutes that was in. But even as you mentioned with obviously Joe Gomez, even Rio and Gamua, Lola, I don't know how you felt coming into this game. We seen even in his cameo in the second half, like even though, yes, the back end of the game he was losing it, but is he young lad? This is the environment where he's going to learn. It's where he's going to make his mistakes. But would you have started Rio even tonight, and or possibly even? But
you know what, I would, because I kind of, when I'd sort of simmered down after the Forest game, I came down to the conclusion that, Mohamed Salah and Cody Gakpo are senior international footballers, both of whom have captained their countries and both of whom have been, to differing levels, superstars for Liverpool. But I came to the conclusion that, you let them, you sort of let them rectify their mistakes. You say, well, look, you were poor in the last game, but go out against West Ham and make it right. And they didn't against West Ham, and Rio was excellent when he came on. I actually thought the manager brought him on too late, to be honest. 73rd minute he brought him on against West Ham, but yeah, I was disappointed to see Gakpo starting this one. I felt we will see Rio start probably on Friday. But the more important of the 2 games to Liverpool is this game. So why would you wait? But there is increasingly like no defending the situation with Cody Gakpo because he's offering so little. And you wonder, Jack, if being able to bring him on later in the game might actually help him, rather than just becoming a kind of stale presence in the first half already.
there's only so much you can play a player through bad form, isn't there? Like when's there going to be a point? And obviously with Mo not having the greatest performance, but general Liverpool's attack and play, not just in the first half, mate. Our chats let us know, like just the inability. I think I looked at half time. Like it says a lot when all your centre halves have got the most passes out of, even though that's the modern era of the football. But yeah, I was looking at half time and all the data suggests it says a lot when your defenders are having more of the ball possession. We don't want that. You want your attacking players, you want Cody, Salah to have more passes in general in the opening 45. But Liverpool's ability to lack of, I don't know, like what was your thoughts on the midfield and the control in the first half?
I mean, I said on Twitter in the first half that I said this actually after Saturday as well, because I don't want to be accused of being a sore loser. Like, I'm sure you get the same whenever we lose, especially this season, because it's been so often losing from the late goals. My phone goes mad and I'm getting it from all angles. So I'm obviously not in the best of moods, but I want to be clear that I was not feeling great after the West Ham game. And I'm not sure how you could feel great after the Forest game, because we were so poor in that game. And the Brighton one almost sits in its own kind of category, because we were really good in that game. Likewise, the Sunderland game, where we were very good. So I want to be clear, this isn't sour grapes. Like, that just was so far from being good enough. And some of the same problems that, were there when we're winning games are there when we're losing games. And I think that's what's most frustrating is you look at the midfield, and against West Ham, we were getting opened up. We were opened up repeatedly. They looked really dangerous. And I have some people saying to me, oh, that's deliberate. They're inviting West Ham on to create more space. Fine. That may be partly true. But I don't know about you. I don't think it's deliberate to allow a team to beat your press really easily and be squaring up with your back four. I don't think that's not the plan, in my opinion.
We're just we'll speak about the second half as well, mate. But like just the frail nature of Liverpool in terms of, I think we've all watched that, like just so blunt in the attacking third of the pitch, even going forward. Just you're going to Wolves, as we know, their position in the Premier League, bottom of the table. And it's like going all the way back to Rafa Benitez days when we'd rock up at Anfield and just get frustrated by like playing against Portsmouth and the likes of West Brom and really struggling. But yeah, it's like we could take this game like first halves. Liverpool's inability of just scoring first half goals as well, though, Lola. That in itself, for me, I don't know how you feel or chat. It makes games even more difficult when you're not punishing teams in the open. That's why, for me, it was refreshing to see Liverpool score 3 goals in 45 minutes against West Ham. Yes, it wasn't a great performance, but we actually took the initiative to that at Anfield. But yeah, just.
Well, goals change games. They change games, and getting the early goal. I mean, if you think the crowd were on their backs at 3-0, which feels mad to say because they were, imagine what it would have been like if it was 0-0. And goals change games. It changes the feeling around the ground. It changes how the opposition are feeling about themselves. And credit to West Ham on Saturday for keeping on going. But there was nothing that we did in the first half that would have scared the Wolves players. And this comes back to the Cody Gakpo thing. Right now, if you're a fullback, if you're Aaron Wan-Bissaka or Bueno or whoever it is that was playing for Wolves tonight, you see Gakpo's name on the team sheet and you're going, okay, yeah, I can deal with that. But if you see Rio Ngamoa's name on the team sheet, you're thinking, I could get embarrassed here. And that is the issue, is that right now when the starting players for Liverpool are not offering any fear to opposition teams, and they're not scoring really either to kind of underline any sort of superiority.
Yeah, 100%. Gucci saying Rio shouldn't start. Should not be starting. But Gucci, who else have we got down that left-hand channel, mates? Like, who else? It's only Cody Gakpo. Florian Wirtz is injured, so we can't even play him there. Like, it's like, who else can we play? Like, do we continue to play players through bad form? At the minute, we have to, because we've got so many injuries, and that's part and parcel of football. You've got to deal with it as well. But it's not just Cody, as we mentioned, but certainly when a lot of emphasis is being thrust upon Cody, they are your match winners. Cody, Salah, Ekitike, I felt sorry for them as we're going to the second half as well. He was just so isolated again tonight. There was moments where you see him on the halfway line giving a little give and go. He's having to come so deep. It was like watching Wirtz a couple of weeks ago when they're your star players. And even, as we mentioned in the second half as well, when Cody Ekitike does so well to break into the penalty box, goes down the left-hand channel, and there's no one there to tap it in. But chat, obviously, for anyone watching or listening anyway, those were the statistics. Don't look at the minutes, but you've probably seen them anyway. Not the greatest to look at, really. But Lola, that was Wolves' game plan as we go into the second half. They practice all week against any opposition they come up against. Sit behind the ball, soak up as much pressure as they possibly can, look to counter-attack Liverpool, and just wait for that one opportunity. And we'll get straight to the first Wolves goal, really. Like, they scored with their first shot. You just knew. I said in the watch long, and probably you or anyone watching or listening when watching a game, it was inevitable for me that first time they went up the top.
It's so sloppy, Jack. It's so sloppy. And I don't want to get after the captain because in a way I don't think it's his fault. I think you're entitled to lose the odd aerial duel to Rocadare, who is massive. You know, our captain's a superhero, but he's not going to win every aerial battle he goes up for. And Konate gets drawn to the ball. He's way too far across, and it's a great finish. But it's so sloppy, and it's just one straight ball over the top. It's just completely preventable as a goal. But you're right. You know, at a point where they haven't even had a shot at that stage, the most frustrating thing is a better team would punish them. Even Chelsea went there a couple of weeks ago and were 3-0 up by halftime. It's just it's just one of them, isn't it? Stings.
For me, it's and for you and everyone when we're watching it, like the inability of just keeping hold of the ball fundamentally, like at the top end of the pitch, just trying to keep hold of that ball up the top end of the pitch, and then, as you said, like the two centre backs isolated, the Wolves players and the wingers are going, there we go, acres of space, like Bilbo Baggins going on an adventure down the left hand flank. It's there's so much space on that counter, but just quickly touching on not that we want to look at them either anyway, the statistics for the second half. Yes, Liverpool being beaten 2-1 anyway, but even looking at this, 68% possession in the second half for Liverpool to Wolves' 32. Expected XG 0.44 to Wolves to Liverpool's 1.65. So even on, it was West Ham had a better XG last week. They got beat. But look at Wolves, 0.44 expected XG, and they've come away from this game 2-1 up. Total shots, as we said, Wolves scoring with their first shot on target in the game. Courtesy, of course, from Gomez, one of the many Gomez's on the pitch tonight. I had to write all the names down. Even when Joe Gomez come on, you're like, another one? There we go. So, yeah, Gomez not in here for Wolves. 78. I think that's a Spanish Gomez anyway. But yeah, and then how do you want to attack the second half, Lola? Because there's so much that we can mention. The substitutions that come on as well. Do you think they kind of impacted the game for you, or did they have the desired impact? Jones, I was made up actually to see a bit of proactivity from Mane. Well, it couldn't have gone any worse, but I was asking for Rio at half time, but we only seen obviously Curtis Jones come on the 45th minute mark. But substitutions or just general going to the second half as well.
I think the manager is good at half times, and you have to hand it to him because it's very rare, Jack, that we come out worse than we have been first half. But it's almost like they ease into the game poorly and then sort of leave it all to do second half anyway. But they came out, they were better. We had the corner chance, which is kind of frustrating. I don't really understand why Jones is going with his chest for that. It's just such a weird one. But I think Jones injects a bit of dynamism, but I think what you're seeing with him just right now is a player who there's obviously stuff going on behind the scenes. We've heard about the links to Inter Milan. We know that he's a bit out of favour with the manager. You saw the manager bring Nyoni on against West Ham rather than Jones. I think you can see that he's a player with a lot on his mind, and that's a problem with Curtis Jones because we know he likes to take his time on the ball anyway. So I wouldn't necessarily look at that and be like, yeah, that was a great substitution. But you're looking at the bench and that there isn't much there that you can bring, and that's where, if you want to bring the manager into it, there is a degree of sympathy for him there, but it's just, I think he got the selection wrong because I think there's a problem with if you keep on with these three forwards that aren't, and I mean, including Mo Salah in that, even though he got the goal. But Ekitike often away from home has really struggled to affect games. So what you're doing is basically you're running him into the ground. You've got Gakpo who's offering nothing and Salah who's really out of form. If you put all three in from the start and it's not working, you leave yourself with Rio and nothing because the manager doesn't trust Chiesa. And I think that's where you have issues. It's not necessarily in how are the substitutes performing once they come on, because the manager's pretty desperate by the time he throws on any of them anyway. It's like, are we leaving ourselves any options in the first place if things aren't going to plan?
But for you, Lola, and chat, judging from a lot of the comments, and rightly so, chat's like not being able to create clear-cut chances. This is from Prafam as well. Not being able to create clear-cut chances against Wolves is shocking. No, not surprising for this season. Slot as a platform his team better, but he's not been crying out for the whole season as well. Like, for me, when I watched that, no clear style of fluidity of playing, attack and third. Like, at least if you could try and when we all analyze the game, when we're watching it live and as a fan, like, you could maybe last couple of seasons under Klopp, you could see a bit of a style of play that we're trying to do. But at the minute, as every Liverpool fan around the world, and even the away end probably went tonight, oh, here we go, throwing on another Chiesa again with no clear instruction by the looks of it, spamming on plays for the sake of it, and just hoping and praying on a whim that we magically get a deflection, get a goal. For me, there's no identity, not just tonight, but there's no. I need more from a Liverpool manager, Lola, because he was making substitutions last season, but this season there's just an absolute mess every single week for me.
You're spot on. You're spot on, because that's the problem. Is like, I don't want to sound like a Spurs fan with Postecoglou because I don't want Liverpool to play like that, but I do feel that right now, and I said this after Saturday, I don't identify with the way that we're playing football. I can't tell if we're trying to press. I can't tell if we're trying to be in a mid block. I can't tell, are we a possession team? Are we a counter-attacking team? What is it that we're actually trying to do? And someone asked me on Sunday, what does the manager have to do to convince you that he should be the manager at the start of next season? And my answer isn't, win the Champions League or win the FA Cup and finish fourth.
But results like this, but results like tonight don't help his cause. Come at the end of the season.
No, but it's the style of play. It's what you say. It's like you show up at Wolves thinking, like I sit there thinking, I don't know what a Liverpool goal looks like. I know that we can score from set pieces and that it can bounce around and get a deflection. I mean, for God's sake, Wolves got a lucky goal to win the game, a deflected goal. But I don't know right now what a Liverpool passage of play looks like, and the players don't either. And that's where you get situations like Ekitike, bless him, he kept trying, but he's trying to beat three men at once and making mistakes. Same thing with Rio. Chiesa's taking pot shots, Szoboszlai taking pot shots, and that all comes from not having a style of play. And I don't know about you, Jack, but if I saw an obvious style of play and we got beat narrowly or we drew, but it was like, this is what we're trying to do and there's going to be some growing pains, I'd be much more willing to accept it. But like, it's March, and I have no idea what we're trying to do. You can't use the excuse of all the new players. And I know this sounds callous, but you also can't use the excuse of Jota, because we've had time now to adapt to that situation. This is the group. This is the manager. Surely you can get more out of this group.
Yeah, it needs to, mate. And just like Europe, Chat's always mentioned Galatasaray. They're not going to be a pushover. And then if we get past them, got PSG, or possibly, going to be PSG, obviously against Chelsea, but you never know. But yeah, it's just a bit of a mess at the minute, mate. And as well, Chat's but we knew what was going to happen. We knew as soon as Wolves had one clear, just any form of attack or shot on target, it was just going to go in the back of the net. And obviously with Cody Gakpo clearing it, I think we mentioned how that I don't know if it was it looked like on the first, I've only seen it once or twice, but it looked like a clearance from Gakpo, like taking it off the chest or just any form apart from just put it into the back of the net. Like, just the overplaying of everything. It's just when things like that aren't happening, Lola, it's just.
But this is why with the set pieces, for example, So say you score your set pieces, Liverpool could easily have scored. We could have scored from that corner and been leading, early in the second half. And then likely we go on to win the game because of all the territorial domination and, the confidence you get from scoring a goal. This just underlines for me that if you score your set pieces, you don't even have to be a good team. You'll win football matches. And that's what we saw on Saturday. And I'm sure we'll continue to see it throughout the season for the rest of the season with Arsenal, probably going on to win the league. But it's maddening because I'm not spoiled. Like, I'm not sitting here saying Slot needs to win the Champions League to save his job, but Slot needs to show a way of playing football that makes sense to save his job. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And Albert, I was just in relation to getting the ball into the final third, mate. It says a lot when you're just spamming a ball to the far stick. There's no case of really any triangles on the edge of the box or even on the vicinity of the penalty area where there's a bit of bit of togetherness between the midfield, little tiki-taka on the edge of the box, even go down to the byline, get a cross in. The one time we did get it down, that left-hand channel was that Ekatike chance, and I was screaming, probably like all of us. You knew what Hugo Ekatike was going to do. So when he drifts wide, Gakpo or Salah needs to be getting across the centre half, make a run or make that motion and just try and get any form of touch onto it. But we could all see what was going to happen. But it was just a laziness from not just Salah and Gakpo, but just the hunger and the desire that is needed to just get into that area. And you've got to make your own look.
As usual, it's the same lads week after week turning up. Szoboszlai turns up. Ekatike runs his socks off. He can frustrate you at times. Rio produces really bright moments. The captain is excellent. Kirkes is growing week on week. But everybody else, it's poor week after week after week. And I think the thing that's really frustrating me now is, like, yes, okay, Mo scores the goal, but he's anonymous in the game. And I do have sympathy with him for he hasn't had a consistent right back next to him. I can see that we're not getting the ball to him in those dangerous situations where he's one-on-one. But it's embarrassing for those players week after week to keep their places when they're playing so poorly. And I've said this before, and this is a classic kind of rage quit thing to say, but like, play the kids that are really informed. Tell them you earn the shirt back. If you play, so Rio's won. Morrison's been banging in the goals in the under-21s. I think he definitely deserves a go in the cup. Nyoni, and you start with those kids and you say you get your shirt back, because at the moment there's no consequences for these poor performances because we're seeing the same thing week after week.
Yeah, the same repetitions week after week, a lot of people saying Slot out, but obviously Slot is getting a lot of. Well, it's the expectation of just managing Liverpool. It was Roy years ago. Yes, Slot won the league title. We all remember that. But football waits for no man. Really, the ever-changing cycle of football. I do think he will probably get at the end of next season. The end of this season. But as I mentioned, Lola in chat, games like tonight certainly don't help his cause. Come at the end of the season, go he's and if he is to stay until next season, it needs to improve drastically in terms of, just as we said, just a bit more of an identity in terms of the way we want to be playing, and just a bit of a mess, really. But just trying to have a little look through some of the chats as well. Yeah, everyone's Lola, and probably that will be the case, but it will be the case for every single game, Lola, when we do have a result like this.
I think it's the late goals. So like that, I have sympathy with the manager, as I've said, for injury situation. We talked about how thin the squad is, and it's not his fault that brainless things are happening on the football pitch, like Gakpo clearing it when Jones has a chance to score. But he's not helping himself, the manager. And the late goals to me really speaks to that, because how can the fitness levels still be so poor that we're in March, they've had 2 clean weeks of training with 2 days off in between their previous 2 games? Why are we legless? Why are Wolves fresher than us? Wolves aren't playing in Europe this season. They're not used to playing more than one game in a week. And we're absolutely legless. And what that means is you run the risk late in the game if you're chasing a winner, you run the risk of being counterattacked on or conceding a goal. And that, I'm afraid, that is on the manager. That's not on the players.
Yeah, he drives he controls everything really, head coach, and he sets the training and everything. But as you said, and especially when you're going off the back, and yes, we always repeat Jurgen Klopp, but he was the marker, as was Paisley, Bill Shankly as well. Great managers that Liverpool Football Club have had. Arne Slot was a great manager last season. He's finding a lot about English football and about his game as well this season. But yeah, it's results like this and results and performance level as well. That's the main thing, though, Lola and Chas. It's the overall performance. It just frankly wasn't good enough. And we need to keep on kicking on. And just quickly, I'm going to try and get the results off as well. And there's Villa Chelsea, Lola, tomorrow. That was an opportunity to capitalise on one of them, or even both of them, would have dropped some points. And again, and off the back of two very good, successful weeks for Liverpool, it's just going to be just 2 steps forward and then 5 steps back again for this Liverpool side this season.
It's the beauty of the race for Champions League football, though, is that you're competing with these imperfect teams. So there will be many more twists and turns between now and the end of the season. And I think we're just going to have to cop for it because we're not in a title race for a reason. And I don't think at this point you can talk about turning corners and talk about, progression. It's interesting because Liverpool have had poor seasons before. We had poor seasons under Jurgen Klopp. We were poor in 22-23, but we went on a 9-game winning run at the back end of that season. And what you saw, even though we fell short ultimately in the race for Champions League football, you saw the foundations being laid for the following season, and you could understand the template of how we were trying to play football. And that's the moment I keep hoping for this season. Liverpool could win the FA Cup. Sure, Liverpool could even win the Champions League. We won the Champions League in 2005 with a much worse team than this. But I think to be convinced about the manager and to be convinced about long-term the health and future of this football club, I need to see a template for next season. Every time something like this happens, it just knocks the wind out of your sails.
But as you said before we come on air, Lola, like the game against West Ham, we weren't good enough. Even yes, we've won that game, but it's spot on. It's even when we have won games of this season, when we all analyse it, the eye test, we're just fans when we analyse it. If we can see it as fans, then certainly the head coaches and from a tactical perspective, they must be they need to be doing more. But those the closing thoughts in terms of, I was going to say, there's no man in a match tonight. Even I forget the last time Ali, even the goal, the first goal, Ali going down, so easy. But as we said, just far too. The second half, 13 total shots for Liverpool, 5 shots on target. Wolves, 4 total shots in the second half, 3 shots on target, and they've scored from 2 of them. Very efficient, better foot, and big chances. Liverpool 4. And I know Arne Slot will allude to that, Lola. He's like, 4 big chances Liverpool have had, but it's all well and good. Great when you're capitalising on them, but not when you're coming to
none of these chances. Yeah. I mean, Rio's chance comes about from some nice build-up play.
Individual quality,
and a wonderful, wonderful effort from the kid, by the way. He's so special. And like you say, you can totally take it on the chin when he loses the ball, because you'd rather, he loses the ball 5 times and the 6th time we score.
He's in a lane.
Especially because he puts in the cross for Van Dijk for that header in stoppage time. He hits the post, generally just buzzing around, looking really dangerous. So I think basically, apart from that, that's where the positives end, and it's just deeply frustrating. Yeah.
So any Wolves fans watching or listening, congratulations, you did deserve 3 points tonight. I know it was an awful game, but yeah, certainly even when we got the goal, it was one of them. It was we've scored. And then just a closing thought there, Lola, for me, and Charlotte, let us know your thoughts. It was just, that's the one thing that annoys me is it takes, and a lot of people mentioned it already tonight as well, it takes us going a goal behind for Liverpool to start playing football. that shouldn't be the case. Like, it's not just tonight, but on numerous occasions already this season. It's like, oh, we're 1-0 down, we're 2-0 down, or whatever. We need to get back into this game. And then if you take away Dominic Szoboszlai's free kicks, a lot of people have mentioned even playing for free kicks tonight. It's like watching Arsenal with their corners. It's like, no, you shouldn't be having to rely on I think Dom's free kick got voted one of the best free kicks, and rightly so, in Premier League era this week. But it's like, yeah, just says when you're battling against, you're clutching at straws, basically, aren't you? Like when you're relying on free kicks.
Chances aren't coming about from the chance aren't coming about from like winning the ball back high, or Mo Salah's goal does, but like it's not like
that's a mistake, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry?
It's a mistake from Bellegarde. It's a poor pass, even.
Yeah.
So,
but we're not seeing Liverpool do things consistently well to create chances. Okay, we've been strong on set pieces since the turn of the year, so we create chances there. Rio beats his man with a bit of magic, but there's nothing. Or Szoboszlai fires in a shot, but there's just nothing. There's no, like, in the good old days of Trent and Robbo, we used to just get our fullbacks one-on-one and pull the ball back and queue up. And it doesn't have to be that. Like, I don't want people to think that I'm saying, oh, we need to play Jurgen Klopp style football. We just need to play a style of football that is a sustainable way of playing with this group of players that we have now. Not Jurgen Klopp's players, not the Jurgen Klopp players that still play for Liverpool, not the new players, but everyone that plays at the club. We need to find a way of playing.
100%. And we got that conundrum of Isaac coming into this side when Ekatige's banging them in. Are we going to be playing with 2 strikers and then Viet in behind and then 2 fullbacks? So, chat, Lola, any closing thoughts on that? Fantastic performance by the Reds. That's a bit of sarcasm for anyone watching. But yeah, closing thoughts from you, Lola, going into the game on literally less than 72 hours as well. Hopefully that'll be a bit better, but they'll be bounced on that.
Mate, I'm just dreading going to work tomorrow. I'm just gonna get so much stick. But apart from that, my closing thoughts are I'm more of the same. At this point, you've got to laugh, otherwise you'll cry. And I'm glad we talked about it, Jack, because I feel a lot better for having ranted and raved, and not just gone to bed fuming. Liverpool will be back. It's a good group of players. We will add players in the summer, and I think the one thing to remember is, yes, it would be an absolute disaster if we didn't get Champions League football, but we've not got Champions League football before and still survived, as the manager said. So I think just stick with them, stick with the manager for the time being, because he's not going to go anywhere before the end of the season, much as we all might want that to happen.
Yeah, 100%. That was me, Jack McIndoe, and Lola Katz Roberts as well. Reds, there's plenty of content already out tonight. Obviously, you have the post-match Raw with Dave Hendrick, Trev Downey, and Jim Broadbent taking you through their analysis. That was mine and Lola's. I'm pretty sure we've done well to not use any expletives tonight.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure anyone watching or listening, probably watching a game or even in the away end, when there was a couple of them going out anyway. But Lola, thank you very much for your time, mate. And chat, try and enjoy the rest of your week. We'll go bouncing into Friday's game. Hope we need some bit more enjoyment, better brand of football anyway. But chat, let us know your thoughts if you are watching on the repeat on your analysis of the game. So, but Reds, that's been Late Night Live, and we'll see you very, very soon. To that, Reds.